So, hey, today we're going to talk about perks in the game. There are three perks in the game, or two actually, that you guys should know about. And I say three because everybody should be running these three perks on every single killer, but one killer has a particular perk that's really good that I don't know if it causes a lot of damage. It does cause a lot of damage, but I don't really notice because it doesn't activate. So it's kind of hard to tell. And two killers, every killer should have this one perk, and one other killer, which is should have this perk all the time, and no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So anyway, let's go into this. So we're gonna start off with Sissy here, and as you can see, the serrated perk hit victims hit by the perk holder again take 1 HP per second of extra damage for the next 5 seconds. This is massive. So depending on how much your savagery is, that's how much damage they're going to take over the next 5 seconds. So they're going to take that 37% of extra damage for 5 seconds. Now, same thing with Johnny. They're going to take that 65% of damage because if you add 50 plus 15, that's 65% damage right there. So and then on top of that, bleed out for 5 seconds, it's going to be way too much damage. But anyway, serrated, I've serrated on Cook, I've serrated on Johnny, I've serrated on Sissy. This bleed perk is so amazing. It is really amazing. I cannot stress that enough. If you're not using this perk, what are you doing? It's gonna make your kills a lot easier and a lot harder to not get away from you. So unless they're jumping through the window, but they're gonna bleed out anyway. So what's the point? I've killed so many people with this perk. It is absolutely amazing. Excuse me. I think that everyone should be running it because if you're not, yeah, you can trade it off with a lot of other perks, but bleeding perks, when you hit somebody, they're gonna bleed for 5 seconds. And depending on your savagery, they're gonna bleed out even more. Because the more savagery you have, the more harder you swing, then that means the more they're gonna bleed and so also you can stack savagery. I mean you could stack serrated. So the best person to stack serrated is actually Johnny and Sissy. Uh, because they do a lot better with this. Sissy can have a lot of stuff, which is like she can have a lot of endurance, and she hits way better than Johnny. Even though Johnny has that speed tech, no, Sissy, even without her poison effect, which was bugged, she can hit you over and over and over, and she can stack that serrated, which is nasty. So they're going to be bleeding out every time for more seconds. Every time you hit them, it stacks. But they're not. It's not going to stack the seconds. It's just going to keep stacking, refreshing the serrated perk. But either way, they're not going to be able to get away. And the second perk is with Hitchhiker, and it's called Venom. Now, again, victims caught in traps take 1 HP of extra damage per second for 30 seconds. It's massive. And again, he can have the serrated perk right here. Oh, he also has rubber boots. So I actually did not know that. It's also stupid that rubber boots on Hitchhiker, but serrated is better. Serrated is great on every killer except for Hitchhiker and Leatherface, and I'll explain why for Leatherface in a minute. So, for Hitchhiker, you don't need serrated. Now, serrated only does this for your melee attacks, and if you're not doing melee attacks, then oh boy, here we go. This is where Venom comes into play. Venom, if they're caught in your trap, they're gonna bleed out for 30 seconds. On top of that, this is my build for Hitchhiker. 13 plus 33 is 46% of extra damage. 46% of damage when they get in the trap, plus a huge amount of bleed damage that they take over a short period of time but they'll be bleeding for 30 seconds. That's 46% of damage that are going to be stacked onto the bleed damage. It's absolutely insane. So, and this does stack, by the way, because if you go to certain characters like Sunny and, and see, it doesn't stack right here in the ability. Again, I could go with, Connie. Sorry, excuse me, hold on a second. Does not stack. So, again, that's basically where we're at. Now, the only killer that doesn't have serrated is Leatherface. And I'll explain why. Because he has his own unique perk. Now, if I go into his loadouts here, you can see that the serrated perk would have been right in the savagery, but it's not here. He has the boots perk, and this is a waste. Somebody please tell me in the comments if you ever use this perk. Start with the generator. You have 5 pulls. You're immune to cattle grids, but again, I don't really see a use for this perk, but please let me know. Anyway, there's a perk that everyone needs to know about on Leatherface, and that is called Rough Cut. Now, this is the only bleed perk in the game for Leatherface, and this is the reason why he doesn't have serrated, because it would be way too overpowered. 5 seconds, if you hit somebody with a chainsaw, if he had serrated, they'd be bleeding out for a huge amount of damage for 5 seconds. But then adding the 5 seconds on top of this right here would be 10 seconds. Adding 2 marker seconds on that, it would be 12 seconds of bleed if you had rough cut and serrated. Too powerful. So this is why they went with this. Hitting a victim with the chainsaw causes 1 HP of extra damage for 7 seconds. And yes, I do have this maxed out, but I don't have unlocked because I don't have this on my build. So it's a unique for Leatherface. However, I don't see this being I see this being a really good perk. However, this perk, when they activate, if you hit somebody with a perk and it activates, it creates this circle draining the perk until it's depleted. That's how you know it's working. Now, some perks do this. The bleeding perks do this, and I believe some other perks do this. I can't remember what it is, but the grandpa perk right here, it does not do this. If Grandpa's incapacitated, you automatically get that 25% extra damage until he recovers. This right here does not do this. When your stamina is below, it just automatically instantly lights up. Now, perks light up if they're faded out and they light up. That means you have activated the perk. If they're a bleeding perk or they are activated in some other form, they're going to be highlighted or they're going to do a little circle and they're going to activate and then do a depleting circle. So I cannot stress this enough. I've tested this I don't know how many times with Leatherface. This rough cut perk is so strong that bleeding out for 7 seconds with the extra damage, with the chainsaw, by the way, is so good that if you have this perk with the hysterical strength, it is really, really nasty. On top of that, I would have, let's see, something else on top of there. I can't remember what other perk you would have, but if you went to the left and or actually if you went straight up and you got the perk, maybe you can have hysterical strength. Yes, definitely all the time. Every Leatherface should have hysterical strength. Do not worry about the stamina. Make sure you're wasting your stamina as much as possible and then getting that kill. Because I used to go for 50 stamina and whatever. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to talk about was the 3 perks. So with the hitchhiker, when you get caught in the trap, the perk will start to activate, and then it will deplete the circle with the perk, showing that it's activated until the perk has run out. With serrated, it does the same thing. If you're hitting a victim with your melee attack, it will deplete and run out for 5 seconds. With this, it should work the same way. However, it doesn't say hitting a victim with a chainsaw takes a victim that has been hit with the chainsaw take 1 HP of extra damage for 7 seconds. It doesn't say that. It says causes. So again, the guys, and am I reading this wrong or am I reading this right? If it causes 1 HP of extra damage per second, that means that for 7 seconds, that means they're bleeding out for those 7 seconds that you hit them. If I revved it all the way up above 70%, with massive 50% of damage on top of that, with whatever I have, they're instantly going to bleed out from a lot of this damage, including the 1 HP of extra damage they're doing for 7 seconds. They're going to bleed. So this perk doesn't. The reason why I say this probably doesn't work is because it doesn't deplete in a circle. It stays. It just stays activated. Like if I were to show you in a match right now, it would it would do that. Maybe I can get into a match real quick, but we'll try to see. But I would have to I would have to I would have to spec I'd have to do another build again in order to get this. So builds will be coming in the future. I will be making builds in the future. Yes, have been posting videos lately, but that's because I've been dealing with a lot of other things. So keep that in mind. I don't post videos all the time, but I will try my best to put them out as much as possible. Much as possible. I have so much videos for you guys that I have hoarded up for these amount of days that I've been playing, weeks actually. So that's not going to stop. I'm going to put those up when I get a chance, and I will have a chance. I have so many videos, but in this case right now, let me know if the rough cut is working for you, if the rough cut ability is depleting in a circle or it's staying still. I will even post a video about Leatherface just by himself with this build, showing you what is going on with the perk and if it's not working. I don't even care if I lose. I just want to see what the perk is doing. So with Hitchhiker, it works with his Venom perk, but the Serrated perk with any other killer except for Leatherface, it works. So it does that little bleeding sign, and then it just shows you that icon that they're taking the bleed damage. That's how you know on the right bottom corner. So if you don't see that on the rough cut perk for Leatherface with the chainsaw, when you hit him with if you hit him with it, let me know because I can tell Gun immediately about this perk in the ticket when I support it when I submit it. So they're trying to fix a lot of things before content comes. So I really want to know if that worked. But sorry for the long video here. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you guys so much. So I will try to put out more in the future and try to get this thing rolling. Evil Dead the game has just dropped off the hinges. No more content. I did stop making videos about that. I was even going to put out a Mia build for you guys so you know what to do. But in this case, it's probably never going to come out. It may come out. Who knows? But anyway, keep this in mind that I will drop videos after this video. Maybe not right after, but I will drop one in the future. So just let me know about that perk. Anyway, thank you so much, and see you later.